The city never sleeps. Its lights flicker in 1,000 colors, neon reflections dancing on rain-soaked pavements. But beneath the dazzling skyline, in a quiet corner of a bustling avenue, life looks very different. On a narrow stretch of cracked sidewalk, a young homeless girl sits huddled against a cold concrete wall. Her hair is messy, her clothes threadbare, and her eyes, though weary, still hold a spark of dignity. She clutches a thin blanket to her chest, trying to shield herself from the chill of the night. People walk past her, some glancing briefly but quickly turning their eyes away. A few whisper among themselves, shaking their heads as if homelessness is a contagious disease. Others simply ignore her existence, eyes glued to their glowing phone screens. To the world, she is invisible. But tonight, her life is about to change. At first, she hears the low hum of an engine. Then, a sleek black car pulls up to the curb in front of her. Its tinted windows gleam under the streetlight, and when the door opens, a tall man in a tailored suit steps out. Everything about him screams power: the polished shoes, the silver watch, the confidence in his stride. He is a millionaire CEO, a man used to boardrooms, penthouses, and respect. The girl lowers her gaze, expecting him to walk past her like everyone else. Instead, his footsteps stop in front of her. She dares to look up, confused. The man kneels down so that their eyes meet. His gaze is sharp but not unkind. In his hand, he holds something small, shiny, and unusual, a black credit card. Not just any card, but one of those legendary ones whispered about in luxury magazines, a card with no spending limit. He extends it toward her. "Take this," he says, his voice deep and steady. "Spend it however you want." The girl blinks, her lips parting in shock. "What?" she whispers, unsure if she heard him right. "Go," he continues, placing the card closer. "You can buy anything: clothes, food, a hotel room, even jewelry. The choice is yours." Her mind races. Was this a trick, a cruel joke, or was she dreaming? People like her didn't even step inside banks, let alone hold a card like this. She shakes her head. I can't," she stammers. "This must be a mistake." The man's eyes narrow, studying her. He doesn't explain himself further. Instead, he gently sets the card on the blanket in her lap, as though placing a weight heavier than gold. "I'll be watching," he says cryptically, before standing up and walking back to his car. In seconds, the sleek vehicle disappears into the night, leaving behind only the faint sound of its engine. The girl stares at the card in disbelief. Her heart pounds against her ribs. This small piece of plastic could buy a night in a warm hotel, new clothes, a feast of food, even a second chance at life. She clutches it tightly, afraid someone might snatch it away. But alongside her excitement comes doubt. What if it's fake? What if the man was mocking her? Or worse, what if using it got her into trouble? She looks around. The street is still busy, but no one pays attention to her. To them, she's still invisible. And yet, deep down, something tells her this is real. Something tells her this is not just a card, it's a test. With trembling hands, she tucks the black card into her pocket. Her eyes lift toward the glowing signs of stores down the block. For the first time in a long time, she has a choice. She rises slowly from the cold pavement, clutching her blanket, and takes a hesitant step forward. Her body aches, her legs weak, but there is a strange energy pushing her on. Each step feels surreal, as if she's walking toward a future she never believed could exist. The streetlights stretch ahead of her like beacons, and in her pocket, the card feels heavier than it should, as if it carries not just money, but destiny. She doesn't know that somewhere, hidden from sight, the CEO's eyes are still on her, watching every move she makes. Because tonight, the real test has only just begun. The black credit card burned in her pocket like a secret flame. Every step the homeless girl took down the neon-lit street, her mind twisted with possibilities. She could walk into any high-end boutique, grab designer clothes, step into a 5-star hotel and sleep in a soft bed for the first time in years. She could order plates of steak, seafood, desserts piled high until her stomach forgot the taste of hunger. But as she glanced at the glowing signs of luxury stores, she shook her head. Those weren't her world, not yet. Her feet, worn from days of walking, carried her instead to the corner where a small grocery shop stood. Its flickering sign and dusty windows looked unremarkable, but inside were the things she truly needed. Food, water, warmth. The bell jingled softly as she pushed the door open. The cashier, a middle-aged man with tired eyes, glanced up at her. His gaze lingered on her ragged clothes, her tangled hair, the dirt on her hands. For a moment, suspicion crossed his face, until she pulled the black card from her pocket. His eyes widened. The skepticism melted instantly into politeness. "Welcome," he said quickly, straightening up. "Can I help you find anything?" She nodded shyly, clutching a small basket. As she walked down the aisles, her hands trembled, not from fear, but from the simple joy of choice. She picked up a loaf of bread, still warm in its wrapper. Then a carton of milk, a bottle of clean water, a pack of instant noodles. Essentials. Survival. She didn't reach for chocolates or cakes or wine. Every item she chose came from the instinct of someone who had lived without, someone who knew what hunger felt like. At the checkout counter, the cashier rang up her purchases nervously, as though afraid of insulting someone so wealthy yet oddly dressed. When she slid the black card across the counter, his hands trembled slightly as he processed it. A green beep confirmed the payment. It was real. She exhaled a shaky breath of relief as he handed her the bag. Stepping outside, the night air felt lighter. For the first time in weeks, maybe months, she carried food that would last more than a single night. She could eat without begging. She could rest without fear. But just as she was about to head back to her small corner of the street, her eyes fell on something that made her stop. Near the alley, not far from where she had sat earlier, was a woman with a child. The woman looked exhausted, her hair tangled, her thin coat wrapped around a little boy on her lap. The child's face was pale, his small hands trembling in the cold. He leaned against his mother's chest, eyes half closed with hunger and fatigue. The girl's heart tightened. That sight was her own reflection, her past, her present. She looked at the grocery bag in her hands. She had bought enough to eat for days. But she knew what it meant to watch a child starve. Slowly, she walked toward them. "Here," she whispered, kneeling down. She pulled out the loaf of bread and handed it to the mother. The woman's eyes widened. "No, I can't, please," the girl interrupted softly, placing the bread into her hands. "It's okay. You need it more." The mother's eyes filled with tears. She broke off a piece of the bread and pressed it into her son's tiny hands. The boy chewed hungrily, his face lighting up with the simple joy of food. The mother whispered, "Thank you. God bless you." The homeless girl smiled faintly, blinking back her own tears. For a moment, the world didn't feel so cruel. What she didn't know was that the CEO was watching. Hidden in the shadows not far away, he leaned against his sleek car, observing everything. His sharp eyes followed her from the moment she walked past the luxury stores to the grocery shop, to the act of sharing her food. He had expected many things, that she might splurge, that she might be selfish, that she might fail the temptation of power. Instead, she had chosen survival. And beyond that, compassion. His lips curved into the faintest smile. In his world of ruthless business, greed was the rule. But here, in a girl who had nothing, he saw something rare, a heart richer than any fortune. Back on the street, the girl returned to her small spot near the corner. She tucked her blanket around herself, clutching the remaining groceries. Her stomach growled, but she felt strangely full, not from food, but from the warmth of having helped someone else. The night deepened. Around her, the city buzzed with noise and life, but inside her chest was a quiet peace. She didn't know what tomorrow would bring. She didn't know if the card was a blessing, a trap, or a miracle. But tonight, she had made her choice. And that choice was more powerful than she realized. Because to the man watching from the shadows, her decision had answered the question he had silently asked the world: what would you do if given everything, when you had nothing? The girl had given away, even when she herself still lacked. And that was the answer that would change her life. The night had been long. The homeless girl had drifted into a shallow sleep on the hard pavement, her blanket tucked tight, the small bag of groceries resting by her side like a treasure chest. The city roared on around her, cars honking, laughter spilling from bars, footsteps echoing, but she slept through it, exhaustion finally conquering her body. Morning light crept in slowly, golden rays peeking between tall buildings. The sounds of the city shifted from nightlife chaos to early morning routine. Street sweepers cleared the sidewalks. Vendors set up their carts. People hurried past in coats and scarves, coffees in hand. The girl stirred, rubbing her eyes. Her first instinct was to check her bag. The bread and noodles were still there, untouched after she had shared some with the mother and child last night. Her stomach growled, and she nibbled on a piece of bread, sighing in relief at its softness. She thought about the black card again. It felt unreal even now, tucked safely into her pocket. Part of her wanted to keep it forever, not to spend recklessly, but as a reminder, a proof that, for once in her life, someone had given her something without expecting anything back. But she also feared it. What if the man came back angry? What if this was some kind of trick and the police would come? Her fears became reality, not with police, but with the man himself. A shadow fell across her. She looked up and saw him, the CEO from the night before, standing there in the morning light, just as sharply dressed, though this time without the darkness of night to hide his expression. Her heart raced. She stood quickly, brushing her hair out of her face, nervous and ashamed. I didn't mean to do anything wrong, she stammered, holding the card out with shaking hands. Here, take it back. I only bought food, just food. I didn't spend too much. Please don't be mad. The man didn't take the card. Instead, he studied her face with a long silence that made her tremble even more. Finally, he spoke. You think I'm angry? His voice was calm, almost amused. She bit her lip. It was too much. A card like this, it's not for someone like me. I thought maybe it was a mistake. Or maybe, she trailed off, lowering her eyes. Maybe you wanted to see me fail. At that, he actually smiled, a small, genuine curve of his lips. He reached out, not for the card, but to gently push it back toward her chest. You didn't fail, he said quietly. You passed. Her eyes flickered up in confusion. Passed, yes. His gaze was steady, unblinking. That card wasn't about money. It was a test of character. I wanted to see what you would do with power, when no one was watching, when you had nothing to lose and everything to gain. She blinked rapidly, unable to process. And, I passed. He nodded slowly. You could have bought anything. Jewelry, expensive clothes, a night in a penthouse. But you didn't. You bought food, the basics. You chose survival, not greed. And more than that, his voice softened, you shared it with someone else who had even less than you. The memory of the mother and child flashed through her mind. She swallowed hard, her throat tight. The man stepped closer, lowering his voice so only she could hear. I've built an empire. I've met men with billions who would step on anyone to climb higher. But last night, I saw something I haven't seen in a long time, real humanity. Kindness, even when you had nothing yourself. That's worth more than all the money in my accounts. Tears welled in her eyes. No one had ever spoken about her that way. To most, she was just another forgotten face on the streets. To him, she was seen. I don't understand, she whispered. Why me? Because I believe in second chances, he said simply. And because people like you deserve more than scraps from the world. He pulled something from his coat pocket, a crisp envelope. He held it out to her. With trembling fingers, she opened it. Inside were papers, official documents, a job offer, housing arrangements, even a bank account set up in her name. Her knees nearly gave way. This can't be real. It is, he assured her. You don't owe me anything. All I ask is that you keep that same heart, the one that thought of others before yourself. Work hard, and the rest will follow. She covered her mouth with her hands, tears spilling freely. For so long, she had prayed for a miracle, for just one person to believe she was worth saving. And here it was, standing in front of her. The man extended his hand. Walk with me. Today, your life changes. For a moment, she hesitated, glancing back at the sidewalk corner that had been her home for so long. Then she looked at his hand, steady, certain, offering not pity but opportunity. She slipped her hand into his. His grip was firm, reassuring. Together, they walked down the bustling street. To the world, it looked like a powerful CEO with a ragged girl at his side. But to her, it felt like stepping out of the shadows into the light. And for the first time in years, she dared to believe in a future. The test was over. Her new life had just begun.